Hello there! Before we get into this episode of the Colby Cast, I wanted to set the table a little bit. For the third year in a row, I've asked the magnificent Tom Gross to join us for a year-end recap. This time, Caleb and Luke are joining us. The four of us ended up having such a great conversation. I'm going to split it up into 3 bite-sized nuggets so that you can all enjoy it over the next few days. On this episode, I surprise Caleb and Luke with a Tom-themed pop quiz, and then we hear all about Tom's album playthrough project. The next section of our talk will be out in a few days, so keep your eye out. It's a great conversation, and I hope you all enjoy it. So, let's get this party started. Lucia, do your thing.
Punch it to me.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Colby Cast, where we dive into movies,
21 gigawatts!
TV,
Sometimes I'll start a sentence, and I don't even know where it's going. I just hope I find it along the way.
and everything in between.
Well, I don't know how you get a podcast, but you should look into it.
I'm Colby, and I'm joined by my 2 awesome sons, Caleb
I don't know how to tie my shoes.
and Luke.
I never shut up.
Together, we're your friendly neighborhood pop culture nerds, here to share our thoughts on Star Wars, Marvel, the latest entertainment news, and maybe even some sports.
You believe in miracles? Yes!
So grab a piece of cake
Cake! Everybody loves cakes.
and find a comfy spot on the couch, because this is your place for community and conversation about pop culture and storytelling.
What an incredible smell you've discovered.
All right, Caleb and Luke, we're having a guest over tonight. We're going to have a guest on our episode. So Mom said, don't embarrass her, or else she's going to take away the video game privileges. So we have to be on our best behavior. I'm hoping that we still have some eggnog left over, except I saw Luke pour a massive mug full of eggnog before we started recording. So I don't know if there's going to be anything left over. But you guys are ready to go? Are you ready for our guest to come in and say, are you ready to receive and treat nicely and act like good guys?
Oh, yeah.
Act, yes.
I don't believe either one of you. So we're going to see how this goes. But you know him, you love him, because he is the co-host of Teachers in the Dungeon and CWK Pour-Over. He is a frequent contributor to the Colby Cast, although he's not quite as frequently contributing as Ross Hollowbin, because, he is like the 4th unofficial official member. But Tom, you're getting close, so maybe you're going to become the 5th. And I already stepped on the lead. I'm not going to bury it. He's also the author of the Seeking Positivity in the Galaxy blog, which I like to call Spit G, by the way. He's a massive Hamilton fan. We hung out with him at Disneyland, where he told Luke that he was going to keep an eye on him if he ever saw him in his library. So let's give it up for our favorite fighting Frenchman, Tom Gross.
Oh, well, thank you so much. What an introduction. It's so good to be here. I'm always glad to be on the Colby Cast. It's great to be with you, Colby, but this is a first for me also with Caleb and Luke. It's great to be with you guys as well.
Thank you. I appreciate you putting up with us.
Well, thank him when it's done. Thank him when it's all over.
Tom, do you remember when we were walking? I don't remember if we were walking from Disneyland to, what is it called? The downtown Disney? Is that what it's called?
Downtown Disney, yeah.
Oh, we had Disney.
I feel like I should know that. It's pretty much in our backyard. Do you remember when you and I were chatting as we were walking across and you asked me a question about who my favorite Star Wars villain was?
Yes.
Okay, good, because that still haunts my nightmares, because I feel like I gave you the most, like, just blanket answer. I panicked. I didn't know what to say. And then I just, like, I felt like I was put on the spot, and I think of it more often than I'd like to admit.
Okay. Wow.
Well, I want to know what the answer
Yeah.
was. What was your answer?
I think I said Darth Vader, because I feel like that was just like the right answer. But every single time I relive that moment, I go, nope, it should have been this. Nope, should have been this. Nope, it's always a different answer too.
what should the answer be then is what I'm curious, because Darth Vader is a solid answer. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that answer. But what
Yeah,
would you
but
think?
I very much try to not be basic, and I feel like that's the most basic answer I could have given you. I definitely think Darth Maul would be the answer, just because of the
Sebulba.
attachment. Who did you say?
Sebulba.
Yeah, there you go. Oh yeah, Dad, you
Sebulba.
do a really good Sebulba impression, don't you?
Only when I walk on my hands, like you tried to get me to do yesterday. That's so funny because I mean I think back to that weekend, the celebration, Star Wars Celebration 2022, right? And I just like threw Caleb and Luke into the deep end of the pool. I mean, I had never been to a celebration, but I feel like I was a little more prepared because I would listen to podcasts about it and like I
Mhm.
just sort of like consumed as much as I could going towards it. I just Caleb, Luke, you guys want to go to Star Wars Celebration? And they're just like, yeah, like okay, and
Well, it wasn't even that. Years in advance, we were originally gonna have a different person attend in my stead, and then something fell through with that. So then I was like, I'll join. Why not? It wasn't even supposed to be me to begin with.
and you're the one that ended up spending most of the time because we were just like we were saying, Luke was
Yeah.
coaching hockey that weekend, so he was bouncing from city to city. And here we and you know we had that great dinner at that restaurant on downtown Disney, and of course we got to
Yes.
hang out in Disneyland, and
And you guys had
yeah,
that massive ice cream cookie thing.
yes, it
Yeah,
was a shake with a cookie shoved on the side of it.
I'm still trying to work off those calories.
I'm sure. Every time I look at the picture, I have to work off calories.
Okay, so I thought we would have a little bit of fun. I mentioned it before we started recording, but Luke popped a quiz on me last week. And before we get into, I mean, the reason you're here, of course, Tom, is because we do now it's a tradition. Like it's going to just pencil me in on the last
Yes.
couple of weeks of December because this happens now. This is a thing. We're going to talk about last year, the year in review. We're going to do a 2024 thing. So
Yeah.
I'm really looking forward to hearing all of our thoughts on different stuff. But before we do, I thought we'd have a little bit of fun. And this is a quiz that I'm going to give Caleb and Luke, but the subject is Tom Gross. So,
Okay.
Caleb, Luke, this is a competition. There will be points awarded. Your name is your buzzer. So I am going to ask you a question. And this is all factual because I went through and dug up all this information on the wonderful blog called SpitG.
Spitgy.
SpitG. So, you guys ready? Your name is your buzzer. You know what that means? That's like old radio game right there.
No, I don't know what that means.
Okay, so you can't just shout out answers. You have to say
Your
your
name, your
name.
name, your name, your name, your name.
I have to say my own name.
Yes, if you're gonna answer, you have to say Luke, and then if I hear that before Caleb says Caleb, then I will I will call on you to see if you get the answer right.
That doesn't
Ready?
make sense, but okay. What do we win?
Is this multiple choice?
There are 3 multiple choice questions and 1 that you're gonna have to use your brain.
Oh.
What do we
Yeah.
win?
That's gonna be difficult.
I don't know. Probably an erasable pen. That's the prize. Bragging rights. I mean, what would you need anything? It's like you guys, one of you beat the other. That's enough, right?
Always.
Ready?
Sure,
In
but
my
I'm
house,
taking my
that's
Funko
enough.
Pops.
Well, you want a Funko Pop, Luke? Is that what you said?
I'm taking my Funko Pops back.
No. Well, I mean, it's a good point. I did win, Tom. I won 4 itty bitty pops because I got 8 points out of a possible 17. It's a low bar. Okay, here we go. For 5,000 points, which of the following can be found on Tom's top 5 breakfast foods list as seen on SpitG? So again, I butchered the question. Which of the following can be found on Tom's top 5 breakfast foods list as seen on Seeking Positivity in the Galaxy? Pop-Tarts, avocado toast, or kale and green bean smoothie?
Luke,
Okay, Luke gets a first stab at it.
Pop-Tarts.
Tom?
That's correct.
Oh, thank God.
There's nothing healthy about breakfast for me.
Oh, I have the list right here. I will share with you because I love this list. Tom's
Yeah.
top 5 breakfast, going from 5 to 1. Pop Tarts. You mentioned specifically brown sugar cinnamon.
Yes.
It's the best.
There's no notes. Like, they're the best. Sausage breakfast burrito, 2 for 2. Fantastic. Number 3 is egg scrambled, turkey bacon, and toast with jelly. I'm not in on the turkey bacon. It's a little chewy for me, but you're a healthy guy, so I'm going to give it to you. Number 2 is cereal, where you specifically mentioned you could eat cereal any given moment of the day.
Yep.
And that's how we are here. Caleb, do you do that? You don't eat a lot of cereal, do you?
I genuinely think I've had cereal one time in the last 5 years.
Yeah, well, we
Wow.
eat all the cereal for you because
Mm.
the rest of us eat it. And the number 1 on the list is steak and eggs. Solid.
Ooh, nice.
Yum.
I had a steak breakfast burrito for breakfast this morning. So,
Nice.
I ate
Ooh.
6 Pop-Tarts a week ago in one sitting.
oh my
6?
god,
That's the box.
Yeah. It was 1 in the morning. I was playing video games with my friends and I didn't know what I wanted to eat. And I didn't want to cook anything. So I made 2 Pop-Tarts and then I ate them. And then I thought I wanted more. So I made another one. And they come in 2s. And then I thought I'm not just going to leave one thing of Pop-Tarts in there. So I made another one.
Little does he know that I went and opened up the cupboard the next morning looking for Pop Tarts, and there were none. I was like, "Where did all the?" There was like 7 of them packages yesterday.
Not too bad.
Okay,
it's a
so
video.
Luke, I'm sorry,
It's
Tom.
a
Go ahead.
video game. It's a video game moment. So that's okay. You know, when you're playing video games, food just goes in. It doesn't matter what, where, how much. It's just going in. Yep, 100%.
We have a video game question on the quiz tonight.
Oh,
Not quite yet, but we have one more food-based question for 1 point. Which of the following can be found on Tom's top 5 foods that he cannot live without list, also found on the Spit G blog? Biscuits and gravy, pizza, or Pop-Tarts?
Luke.
See, Caleb's not even trying.
I don't even want 1 point. I feel like that was a spit in the face.
You got to play the game, man. You're alive. You are alive. The way I have my
okay.
point system set up, you are alive.
Luke is going to get this wrong, so it's okay.
Okay,
Well,
Luke.
I'm going to go with Pop-Tarts again.
That was a pretty good buzzer. Caleb, you want to take a stab at it?
Do I still have to buzz myself in?
Yes, I want to hear you say your name.
Caleb.
Okay, Caleb, go.
Pizza.
Ding, 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 ding. Pizza. Number 4 on the
Whole
list.
point. Let's go.
Tom likes pizza so much, he has an entire other top 5 list just for pizza, which is the top
my
5
God.
frozen pizza.
yes.
So if
What
you,
is the best frozen pizza?
I didn't write that one down,
Oh.
so we're gonna have to go to Tom.
Shoot. I'm gonna go with what my gut is right now because I wrote that about 4 years ago.
Oh, wow.
But the one that is on the, I know it's on the list. I don't remember if it's number 1 or not. It is Home Run in Pizza, and it's a marvelous when they cook it so the cheese is all melted, then they refreeze it. So it's not like the little pieces of cheese on top of the pizza. It When you take it out of the box, it is like solid. It's like someone did a flash freeze of and that's not like, I'm pretty sure they did a flash freeze of a pizza. So when you heat that sucker up, oh my goodness, it's so good. And now they have a thin crust version, which would sit at my number 1 right now. It is magnificent.
Caleb is furiously Googling as you're talking. I can
Yeah,
see
We
it.
can get that at our local grocery store.
What?
Nice.
I've never paid attention to this. You said it's what is it called?
Home Run in.
Home Run In.
Yeah.
We did order when we went to Chicago. Caleb and I went to a hockey tournament years and years ago, and we had a team party at Lou Malnati's.
Oh yeah.
They did a magnificent job on that
Yeah.
party. And then we found out that we can order it and have it delivered to our house, which we promptly did. So we enjoy Lou Malnati's in our own home, being
nice.
thousands of miles away from it. So
That is Chicago pizza to its heart.
Yeah. Okay, so although Luke is winning by 4,999 points, like I said, you were still in it. You were still in it because the next question, our video game question, is worth 5,002 points. So,
Ooh.
I mean, you could tie this up right now. I worked very hard on the point system. Okay,
I
the
don't think
question.
you can math very well.
I
Yeah.
don't math. I don't math.
Take
Word.
the lead.
Ask me about Alexander Hamilton, though. All right.
No.
Oh, this is gonna be a tough time for you, Tom. This is gonna be a tough
Okay.
hour. Okay, so this also pulled straight out of the Spit G blog. What video game did Tom say changed the way his household games? Skyrim, Battlefront 2, or Minecraft?
Caleb.
Oh, Caleb got in there.
Minecraft.
Tom?
Yes, indeed.
Let's
Yes, indeed.
go.
Yes, indeed. Now, tricky because those other two games we play a lot of, or we used to play a lot of, but Minecraft is still Minecraft is the go-to game still in this house.
Oh, for
We
sure.
love it.
Timeless.
Yeah.
When were we just playing Minecraft most recently? Here.
Like Thanksgiving or something.
The weekend before Christmas, bro. I can see how memorable it was for Caleb.
Was it? I thought that was the same. Isn't that the same?
No.
It's close.
Caleb comes up to me. He walks up to me. And no, first I see him go over to Luke and ask Luke a question about a controller. And the next thing I know, he's coming over with this controller. What kind of controller is it? Is it a PlayStation controller?
It's a PlayStation 5 controller.
PlayStation 5. And he grabs my phone and he starts doing beep boop beep boop beep boop with my phone. And now the controller is hooked up to my phone because Luke has Minecraft in his room, Caleb has it in his room, and I have it on my phone. So I then streamed my phone playing Minecraft on my PlayStation controller to the TV, and we're running around doing our Minecraft thing. All right. So
awesome.
Are we tied? Did I math correctly? No, I think no.
Can you do math in real time, please?
If
Tom,
I
please don't help
did the
him.
math right, Caleb's up by 1 point.
Educator. See? Educator.
Am I right?
Maybe. He's up by 3 points. Luke got a 5,000 points. Caleb got the 5,002 and the 1 point. So, but don't worry because our final question, and thank you for participating in the pop quiz, by the way. The fourth and final question is worth 10,004 points. And the question is,
points guy. Fire him. Fire him right now.
Now this is not multiple choice. This is one you got to use your brain and access the memories. Your name is your buzzer. Which ride at Disneyland did Tom laugh incessantly and infectiously while riding in 2022? I need the Jeopardy theme at this one because they're going. You see their wheels turning right now.
Luke.
Oh, he remembered his name is his buzzer. Okay, Luke, what is it?
Okay, I want to say Rise of the Resistance, but I don't think it's that funny of a ride, so I don't know why you would laugh at it. So I'm gonna go with Smuggler's Run.
It's a good guess. It's a good guess.
That's a fair guess, but that's not the one.
No, it's not. No, it's not. Caleb?
I was concentrating too hard on Smuggler's Run.
Yeah, that's hard work, that ride.
Caleb,
Caleb?
you're the engineer. Then you don't do anything when you're the engineer.
Engineer, you just button smash. You just button smashing. The pilots is so much pressure. Oh my gosh. Caleb is trying to remember names of rides at Disneyland right now just so he can come up with one of them.
Yeah.
Winnie the Pooh.
Winnie the Pooh? No. 3.
Okay.
2. Okay.
Caleb, because you have to buzz in, even though it's the second guess, which is ridiculous. Luke filibustered, and I'm not in the right frame of mind to even filibuster at this point. I'm going to go with Space Mountain.
That's another good guess.
Didn't
And
write it.
the name Mountain is in the name.
It
Tom,
is.
I almost went with Splash Mountain. I'm going to
it's
punch
not
myself.
Splash Mountain either.
No. Let me see if I get the name of the. Or, see if I get the name of the ride right. Thunder. Is it Thunder Mountain?
That's close
Big
enough.
Thunder
Yeah.
Mountain
Big
Railroad.
Thunder Mountain. Big Thunder
Big
Mountain
Thunder
Railroad.
Mountain.
Yeah.
Yes. Holy
That was
cow!
so funny. It's the best. Like that thing
I-
just shoots like crazy, and all we heard was Tom laughing, laughing. It's one of the best
Great ride.
memories of our Disneyland trips. Great.
It. Yeah, it was a pretty thrilling ride.
Yes,
I
it
was
was.
taken. I was taken for sure. I mean, to my defense, it was pretty late at night, and I'm not much of a roller coaster person. So I think the best way to cope with a roller coaster is just from the gut laugh. But it was not intentional. I did not mean to do it. It just came out. It just became who I was on that ride.
So
Sir,
two
you
things.
do not need to defend yourself because that was a magnificent experience. Go ahead, Caleb.
Two things. One, I take a very different approach to my almost dislike for roller coasters, but still go on. But yours is a lot more enjoyable, even though people laugh at me with my approach. Second, um, if you ever find your way to Disney Paris, Big Thunder Mountain Railroad out there is incredible. It is
Oh,
like 3 times as long, but equally as fun. You would think if it gets longer, it would be like a little bit annoying or make you feel a little bit sick. No, it's so much fun.
awesome.
Luke, it looked like you had something that you had ready to share. Did I read the room wrong or?
I was gonna ask what Big Thunder Mountain Railroad in Paris is called.
Big Thunder
Gran-
Mountain Railroad in French.
Grande.
Le Big Thunder Mountain Railroad.
Lay. Yeah. Excellent. Well, that was fantastic. That was a very good effort. I don't know who won. I can't remember. I think Caleb got it by 3 points. That was close
I believe so.
because nobody got the big 10,000 point
That's right.
grand prize. Actually, if we're being honest, though, Tom is the real winner, right? I mean, he's here with us. He's winning.
1000%.
Before we
Didn't
get
even have to
into
say
our
my name.
say it again.
I didn't even have to say my name.
No, you didn't. Next time
Tom.
you're on, I'm going to have a pop quiz where you'll have to do your name as your buzzer. That's going to be fun. Love that. Before we get into our retrospective here, our 2024 review, I know of something that you've been doing in 2024 that I thought the boys here, I call them boys, they're men, they're legal adults. The guys here, I think would find incredibly interesting because we're all huge music fans. So I wondered if you could take a second and just tell us all about your album playthrough project that you started almost a year ago and are now coming to the end of.
Yeah. So in fact, it was a year ago. It was a year ago, November 1st. I started it in November and December and decided I'm going to do this for a year. So in 23, I did October, November, or November, December. And that's when I made the decision that I'm going for it. I'm going to do it for a full year. So you guys, I was talking to my girls about music. I just said to them, what kind of music do you guys like? And they're like, what do you mean? And I said, what do you listen to? And they're like, I don't know, music. I'm like, okay, let's get this straight. There's artists and there's albums and there's songs. What do you listen to? So they gave me some names of some songs that they listen to, and I said, so do you like? I'm drawing Olivia Rodrigo. Let's go with her. I said, so you like Olivia Rodrigo? What other things does she have? And they're like, what do you mean? I said, like, have you listened to her album or are there other songs by her? And they're like, no, I listen to this song that's on, Instagram or TikTok or whatever. And I'm like, whoa, 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 whoa. So I said, you don't really like listen to an album by Dua Lipa or Olivia Rodrigo or Sabrina Carpenter. And they're like, no, I like, they know what albums are because of me and they've seen my CDs, but they're like, no, we don't listen to albums. I was just so taken aback by that it kind of gave me a nostalgic feel for the old pastime of sitting down and listening to an album from cover to cover or from A side to B side. Now I don't have a record player, so I cheat and I go with Spotify. And so I started in January last year. I started the album playthrough project, where I would listen to as many albums in their complete beginning to end, one sitting, intentional, not just putting it on in the background and doing dishes or something. This was put it on, sit down, and listen to the album, just to kind of get that feel back. And then the other thing I wanted to do was on contemporary artists, see, does it still translate? Like, does listen to a John Cougar Mellencamp album from beginning to end, the feeling you get of the catalog of John Cougar Mellencamp by listening to one album, do I get the same thing by listening to Taylor Swift or Olivia Rodrigo? And so I was like, okay, I'm gonna listen to my stuff, but I'm also gonna listen to new stuff, and I'm gonna listen to artists that I've never listened to before from the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, and up to today. So I listened to a whole range of things, mostly rock and roll, little bit of rap, hip hop, little bit of jazz, little bit of country. I don't think I did any classical. I don't think so. Um, and so I don't know. You counted it. You counted it the other day at work, Colby.
It
How
did.
at the point when we were communicating, how many albums had I listened to in 2024?
So that
Was
was
it?
before it was before Christmas, and I didn't know how many Christmas albums you had listened to because you mentioned that
Yeah,
in December you went exclusively to Christmas
I
albums,
did.
right?
Yes.
So at that point through November, it was like 220 some odd albums that you had listened to throughout the year.
Oh, I would say then by today, this recording, I'm very close to, if not sitting at 250, 251, something like that for the
So you've
year.
listened to 250 plus individual albums
Mhm.
in the year 2024.
Yes.
How many
Um,
minutes is that?
that's a great question. I have no idea.
That's a very interesting question because Luke
It is.
on Tom's blog, he breaks it down month by month, and
Yeah.
you list like your favorite album of the month, your biggest surprise, favorite artist, your letdown, like a one that didn't quite hit the mark, and
Mhm.
he lists them literally the days that you listen to them, right?
Yes.
Itemized.
Yeah. Generally, it was one album a day, but there were some days. I mean, like I don't remember if it was like April or May of the year, I listened to like 5 albums in the entire month. Like I don't know what I was busy at end of the school year. I don't know what it was. I just didn't listen to very many albums. But there were also days where I'd listen to 5 or 6 albums in a day, on a Saturday or something like that. I found by somewhere in September, October, I found that if I listened to one right when I got up in the morning, that was a pretty good guarantee I was going to get an album in, because I get up early enough that I can sit and listen to an album while I'm kind of getting my act together, cup of coffee, something like that, but also take the time to listen to the album and the lyrics and things like that. So I started hammering it pretty hard in September, October, up to today. I will confess, I've never felt this way about Christmas music before, but I really got tired of Christmas music, by having to by because I had to listen to an album. And I hate to say this, but there are some dreadful Christmas albums. And the one I'll just toss out right here while I'm sitting here, just because I don't want anyone else to have to suffer through it. There's one good song on it, but you have to get like almost all the way through the album to get to that good song. It's the Leanne Rimes Christmas album. It is torture. And by the time I got to the song that was good, I could care less. I was like, this is ruining my breakfast right now. Like, I don't even want to finish listening to this thing. And I will say I finished every album I started though. There was
Wow.
I can't remember the name of the album it was, but it was a punk rock. I was like, I need to listen to some punk rock. I haven't listened to punk yet. And oh my gosh, the first album I came across was just like I don't know that I could have dealt with. I guess I don't recall punk rock being screaming. So it must have been a layer of like heavy metal punk because the dude screamed for 45 minutes in my ear to a beat that just was rushing, and I just like I felt worse than I did when I head banged all the way through Queensryche at a concert. I mean, my headache was worse from that punk rock album than it was from headbanging through Queensryche and
Yeah, that's
Suicidal
a headache
Tendencies.
right there.
So anyway, it was a great experience. And what the very base thing that I learned, and I haven't written the final blog of the year yet for this, but the very base thing that I learned is artists that are making albums today are still are still portraying themselves as artists. Like there are some there are experimental songs on these albums where you're like, that I was not expecting from Billie Eilish, or I was not expecting a song like that to show up in whatever. And so I was like, okay, because that was kind of, when I go back and listen to like a Billy Joel album or The Who or something like that, there was always a song or two, sometimes more, that you're just like, this is not the Who that I thought I knew.
Mm.
Like it would be lyrical and even like kind of soft and meaningful and not like rebellion, my generation kind of stuff. And I'm like, that's what I loved about listening to albums, is to get an artist's complete musical catalog and listen to the lyrics of different songs that aren't the things that are going to hit the radio waves or Spotify or whatever. And so to me it was successful, and I was able to come up with a project. So the project will probably end here as of I'm guessing as this show comes out, it will be done, because I will finish the album playthrough project on December 31st. I've got two albums that I've had set aside for quite some time that I wanted to listen to on New Year's Eve, and so a new project has come out of it that I'm going to do for 2025. And if Colby, if you don't mind, I'd be happy to let you know what that project is. And I have chosen what artists I'm going to do.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Before you do that, and I would love it if you did, I just want to give Caleb or Luke an opportunity if you guys had any questions, if you wanted to pick
Oh
Tom's
yeah.
brain about this project. But I am thrilled to hear that you're ready to talk about next year.
Yeah.
So Caleb,
I
Luke, you
have
got it. Yeah, go ahead.
I
I
have
knew when Luke has something to say because he's got the mic ready. He's got it there,
Nice.
and then when he's good to go, he sort of backs away. But he's got that mic ready to ask questions here.
All right.
I have so much to say about that. I had no idea you're doing that, and that's awesome. Because when I
Thanks.
listen to music, I don't have playlists. I throw on an album and I listen to the album, no matter the album.
Yeah.
I think for me that started the first time I really sat down and listened to Abbey Road by the Beatles, because I'm not sure
Yes.
if you've listened to that album, but the last 7 or 8 tracks all just blend into each other. And if you weren't paying attention, it sounds like it's just one transition from one song and they're all the same song.
Mhm.
And that it has me hooked. And like when you were talking about how your daughters don't listen to albums, I relate to that so much, because when people tell me like, "Oh yeah, a new album dropped and I put it on shuffle," I just think, "What's wrong with you? Why are you doing that? Don't do that. Listen to the transitions. The artist put them in that order for a reason, right?" Um, there's a I'm not sure if you've heard of him. There's a musician. His name's Tyler the Creator. He's a
Hmm.
hip hop artist, but he does a lot of experimental rap, hip hop, some pop music, stuff like that. And his more recent stuff, I would say his last 3 albums, um, are far more for the sake of making art. Like you mentioned, that those artists who say that stuff, who make albums for the sake of it being an album, are more artists than just musicians, right?
Yeah.
So he had this whole long thing where he was sort of like a influencer and he made like YouTube videos and stuff like that. But when he started taking music seriously, is when he started to make real albums. And it started with an album called Igor. And that album just blends into each one. Each song blends into the next. And his most recent album is called Chromacopia. It's okay. Not my favorite, but it's pretty good. And most artists will drop their songs Thursday night at midnight, and so that it drops Friday, so that everybody can listen to it over the weekend and stuff, right? He made a choice to drop it on a Monday because he was saying, I don't want my songs to be played just in passing. I want people to listen to it on the way to work or while they're doing whatever they're doing. I want them to sit down and listen to the album in its entirety, not just throw it on in the background. So, I mean, the fact that you made yourself listen to a month's worth of Christmas albums is a lot. I don't think I would do that, but I think unintentionally I was probably participating in the same project you were this whole year because that's just how I listen to music.
That is awesome. And I'm with you 100%. The artist has a story to tell, and it starts with song number 1 with the first note or first word, and it ends with the last note and last word. And that's their story. And it's numerous songs, but if you really like sit and listen, they're telling you a story about themselves or about where they live or about the times in general or sometimes all three things. And so that's fantastic. Thanks for sharing Tyler the Creator. I'll definitely be checking that out. There's some artists that are famous for their album stories. And Colby, you and I had talked a little bit on the text threads about Pink Floyd.
Yeah.
Pink Floyd's a rough one for me because I just find Pink Floyd to be extremely depressing. But the one thing that Pink Floyd is they are masters at is is telling the story throughout the entire album. And I
Mhm.
always get so irritated when a radio station plays a Pink Floyd song because I'm like, no, no, you cannot do that. I know Pink Floyd's probably like, thanks for playing the song. We need the royalties. But I'm like, dude, you cannot take a Pink Floyd song out of context because it all works together, one song to the next. And so, but there's them. And then I mentioned Queensryche earlier. They're great at those. You mentioned the Beatles. Some of their albums are wonderful for that story in one sitting. I'm trying to think, Colby, are there other artists that are extremely famous for their, you got to listen to the entire album in context because they do thread together?
Yeah, I'm sure
Or-
there's a million of them, but you're so much better at the music stuff than I am because I have to tell you, I'm terrible at listening to new music, and I have become terrible at listening to albums. Even though I tried to start earlier this year, inspired by you, I found myself going back to the algorithm on YouTube Music and just like, okay, play something for me, robot. Here, go.
yeah. Yeah.
Before we get to next year's project, Caleb, did you have anything you wanted to add?
Yeah, I feel like we could have a series of episodes of the four of us just talking about music, just because of how intricate it can be depending on how you want to approach it. But one thing that I always like to ask people, and I'm not judging you by any means, but I will do something a little bit deeper than that. I will psychoanalyze you based off of your answers, so no pressure.
Please.
That's
Do
called
you
judging.
listen to No, 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 it sounds fancy. I'm not judging him. Um, do you listen to the music and melodies on a first listen, not necessarily on a re-listen on a new album you're approaching? Do you listen to the music first, or are you more of like a lyricist person?
I'm definitely music.
Music. So
Definitely. Yeah.
it's funny because I'm a lyricist person. I could listen to literally the most just depressing, gut-wrenching music, and just my brain just naturally mutes it because I'm listening to the words. So I'll have to re-listen over and over and over just to get the cohesion of both. So my girlfriend is like you. She'll listen to the music and then the lyrics, and some of my favorite songs sound so depressing, but the story is like this uphill battle that's overcome to something, and it's like it's inspiring at the end of it, but she's like, why are we listening to this? I'm so sad now. It's like, no, you didn't listen to the lyrics. So I just
Yeah.
always think it's such a intricate little thing, and I was curious. I am glad that I am not the only bah humbug because I get tired of Christmas music in like the span of 3 songs if it's not like catching me at the right time, whatever it is. So that's just how I operate on a daily basis, though.
And can I tell you, it's going to take me months to get my Spotify algorithm to take Christmas music out of every single playlist or to recommend anything other than Christmas music, because
Yeah.
that is all I can get it to recommend to me right now. It's really, really annoying.
Yeah. I'm
AI
definitely an
does
album
not
listener
understand
too.
seasons yet. They do not get
No.
like you. We don't listen to this in July, or please.
Right. Right.
I'm also an album listener. Like if I listen to a song, I will have the entire I get like very small snippets of songs that I haven't listened to in a week, a month, a year, just in my head spontaneously. So psychoanalyze me on that. That's fine. That's okay. But I will intentionally listen to the beginning first song album all the way through just so I can have the payoff of that melody of that song and stuck in my head. So I'd actually opened your blog while we were talking, and I'm gonna definitely look at some of these because I know I would say 90% of these artists, these bands, but I don't think I could name 5 songs on an album or the album by itself. So I need to
Yeah.
diversify again because I think I have a good like mix of music.
Well, just wait until I have a hint of knowing what Tom is about to go into, but I can't wait for you guys to hear what he's going to do next year. So, sir, the mic is yours. Release into the
So,
world what you're going to be doing for your music
yes,
project in
this will be the
2025.
first this will be the first place it'll be known, because I won't post it on the blog probably until the second or third week of January, even though I'll be well into it. Um, so one thing I found as I was going through 2024 is when I found an album that I really liked, and I'm like, man, I don't listen to enough by this artist. I had this just, I wanted to play another album by that artist, but because of the project I was on, I tried not to do that. There were a few places where I just couldn't help myself, and I did a back-to-back album set of the same artist, but most of the time I didn't. So what I decided for 2025 to do is I chose 12 artists, one for each month of the year, and I'm going to listen to my goal is to listen to all of their albums. There are a few artists on here that just might not be possible time wise. So I'm putting the rule for myself is I have to listen to at least 5 of their albums, and it has to be a span of their career. So in other words, I can't listen to 5 of their most recent and they've got 10 that are earlier. No, I have to spread it out. Um, and so that's and so my hope there is that I get to see and recognize how their story changes as their career progresses. I wish I would have, now that I'm sitting here and I just said that out loud, I kind of wish I had someone like Willie Nelson on my list, because I don't, but to see his career or someone like that, where they've gone from the 1960s and they're still making music today. They're in the Hall of Fame and all that kind of stuff. But I've got a few on here that are ballpark that. So are you ready for my list of 12 artists?
I'm so
Okay. No particular order. Um, all right. So John Mellencamp, of course, I have to have him on there. I used to own every single LP album of his, but the flood in our basement kind of put an end to most of those. The 10,000 Maniacs, I rediscovered them in 2024, and they're the one of the few artists that I couldn't help it. I listened to 2 of their albums in a row. Taylor Swift, a much deeper catalog of music than I think a lot of young people know. My youngest daughter, 13, 14, I don't know that she knows that she started as a country artist. So,
Yeah.
um, so I'm looking forward to her story. Now here's one that might fit that Willie Nelson. James Taylor's on my list. Again, someone that I absolutely love, but I don't know that I've heard a ton of his early stuff. And what's early? I mean, as old as I am, I guess it's all probably early. But anyway, James Taylor. Then Cold War Kids, a band that I discovered in 2024 that I knew tons of their stuff, and I didn't know that I knew them. So I thought that I'm looking forward to hearing their stuff. I always say this name wrong because it just doesn't seem right. Hosier, Is that how you say his name? Hosier?
I'm not sure how it's pronounced, but I know who you're
Okay.
talking about.
I
It's
think it's pronounced Hosier.
Hosier. Hosier?
Yeah.
Okay, okay. So I put him on there. Just he really um he had a he had a knockout year in 2023, but I liked his stuff before that, and I don't know a whole bunch of his new stuff. So I'm really excited to kind of get his career in music and listening to that. Mm, here's my big one, and I got this one because this person was inducted into the is it the Rockefeller Center Award? Is that what it's called? I'm not sure I got it right, but anyway, just recently, last month, Bonnie Raitt was inducted into that, and so I'm really excited to listen to Bonnie Raitt's career through her music. This one came as recommended by you, Colby, and they were on my list, and you just confirmed it, and that's The Doors. I will definitely be listening to a good catalog of The
Great
Doors music, which I feel like I know a lot of it, but I bet I don't. Um, this one came from a late listen in. I had to take a break from Christmas music somewhere in the middle of December, and so I was like, I'm gonna look at who I know that's released an album in 24, and U2 released an album in 2024, and I was
Oh
like,
wow.
okay, this is good stuff. So I put U2 on my catalog on my list. Um, Another band recognized at the it's not the Rockefeller Center. Why can't I think of what it is? Um, Shoot. Anyway, the Grateful Dead was recognized recently at the same ceremony that Bonnie Raitt was, and so the Grateful Dead is on my list. Being a Deadhead myself, been to a concert. Thankfully, got to see Jerry Garcia perform. I'm really looking forward to this, and what I'm trying to decide on that one. Maybe you guys can give me some input after I give my next two. My last two are I can't decide with Grateful Dead whether to listen to studio albums or concerts because that's what they're known for is allowing people to record their concerts. And so there's this massive catalog of Grateful Dead music out there from concerts all throughout their entire career. So I thought I'll probably just do a mixture of both. But I've thought, wouldn't it tell a story though if I listened to either one or the other? Um, then, of course, talk about speaking of concert bands. I put Dave Matthews Band on this list, and that really I put them back on my list because Dennis Keithley emailed me or sent me a text and said, "Tom, this is this is honorable that you are going through December without listening to Dave Matthews Band one day." And after he sent me that, I was like, "Oh my gosh, I don't know that I can make it." So I made it about 4 more days, and I listened to a Dave Matthews concert, and then I went back to Christmas music. So maybe I
Wise
just listen to
advice.
Dave.
That's wise advice
Yeah,
because this project you would have spent a year and not listened to Dave Matthews.
yeah, right. So Dave Matthews Band is probably going to be in there. Yeah, they will probably be sometime in May, June, or July. And then my last one next December, I figured this would be just appropriate. Is I want to listen to the career and the albums of Bing Crosby
Nice.
because he's more than just Christmas. And so I've got his Christmas albums. I'll listen to his Christmas albums next December, but I'll also get more of his career next December with that. So those are my 12 artists for 2025 that I will do a deep dive into and report out what I discovered about these artists each month.
That's a very wide variety. I like it.
Thanks. Appreciate it.
I have my opinion on the Grateful Dead question, but I don't want to step on Caleb what you have to say if you were going to opine. So go ahead with what you were going to share.
I was just going to say that the all-knowing internet said is the 2024 Kennedy Center Awards.
Kennedy Center. That's it. Thank you so much for looking that up.
There you go.
Yeah.
Thank you for scratching that itch because I knew you were talking about that. Dave Grohl mentioned it various times in his book that I read last summer, and
Yeah.
I'm googling music awards. What is this? So you got it better than I did, Caleb. I was going to mention with the Grateful Dead question whether you go live or you go studio. I feel like it's two completely different things, don't you think? Because the studio albums, you will get that perspective from the beginning to over the course of their careers.
Mm-hmm.
But the live shows, they're for a completely different purpose, right? And so you're going to get a lot of repetition from different, songs that they put on all of their playlists, or whatever, the set lists, I should say. So
Mhm.
if you're just looking for the experience of how that changes over time, maybe go with the live shows. But if you're looking for a more um, focused view at Grateful Dead as a band, maybe go for the studios.
Okay, that answers my question. It'll be studio because it's their music that I'm most interested in.
See, look at
I
that.
will
See,
play. I
go
will
ahead.
play devil's advocate and say live music is its own art form, and you should do the concerts, because there's one thing to sit down and really listen to the art form that they're presenting, giving the producers their input and the producers giving the artists their input, but it's a lot more orchestrated versus the concerts. It's straight up just raw,
Mm.
unfiltered, straight into your ears. This is what they are trying to show you and tell you and perform for you. So I just want to make your life harder.
So what I'm hearing is that the 2026 live music album playthrough project.
Oh my gosh.
See, there you go.
That that right there. Oh my gosh. That's a cool idea. Because I was just looking at my list. I'm like, oh, Dave Matthews. They have as big of a concert catalog as for their career as the Grateful Dead does too. So I
Sure,
got a couple
sure.
of bands here.
I think you too would as well.
Yeah, I bet. Oh my gosh. Okay. All right. I need to simmer on that a little bit. But you both have given me compelling reasons to do both, and maybe I'll do every other song, every other album concert, and get in as many as I can. Try to do different eras, like do a concert and an album from the 60s, then the 70s, then in each decade if I can find them. Yeah.
See, all that's what's happening to me right now in this conversation, which I'm just loving every second of, is this is inspiring creative thought, right? And I'm hoping that anybody that's listening to us chit chat about all this cool stuff is doing that. You don't need to do this. You know what? You're a music lover. You listen to music, but you know what you do with this is you're listening with a purpose. It's feeding your creative mind. You're then repurposing that on blog posts. You're looking in at an analytical way of critical thinking type of thing. You're chewing it up, you're digesting it, and you're putting it out there for people to enjoy as well. I just love the fact that as humans we need to do that. We need to have these extracurricular kind of things to keep our mind engaged. And we do a lot of that with hockey. I mean, the constant and just we love hockey, we love watching hockey, but we're also helping kids learn hockey and navigate that whole thing. And I think that's important to help you not stay idle, right? Because you're not going to get much by staying idle. So sort of what I'm thinking, what I'm chewing on is you're going over this, Tom. I just think it's a brilliant way to keep yourself engaged, your mind sharp, and I just love the fact that you're here to tell us about it, and just have this dialogue here going forward, hearing what your plans are for next year. So I love it.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that. I mean, we're here to talk about 2024, but we've talked about music this whole time, and I'm okay with it.
All right, you're going the right way for a smack bottom.
That's going to do it for this part of the conversation. Keep your eye out for the next part in a couple of days, where we get into our favorite albums, songs, and sports moments of 2024. We hope everyone has a happy and safe new year. If you enjoyed this episode, let us know. You can find the Colby Cast on Instagram, Threads, and X at the Colby Cast. Episodes can also be found on YouTube, so like and subscribe. If you feel so inclined, rate and review our show on your podcatcher of choice. That really helps the show beat the algorithm and helps us find new friends to add to the conversation. If you're wordy, like me, you can send an email to thecolbycast@gmail.com. All music is licensed through Adobe Stock and performed by ProMusic24. This podcast is not endorsed by anyone or anything for that matter. It's intended for entertainment and informational purposes only. All original content of this podcast is the intellectual property of the Colby Cast unless otherwise indicated.
That'll do, donkey. That'll do.